Well, hello everybody and welcome to the channel. David Bianco with you. The topic today, well, it's about artificial intelligence or AI and its impact on music. Most recently, of course, with the release today, November 2nd, of the Beatles' new single, Now and Then, and the effects it has had, and a general discussion about what holds for the future as it relates to this topic. That's coming up next on the Safe and Sound Texas audio excursion. So AI, or artificial intelligence. Some people jokingly might say we've got a lot of artificial intelligence in Washington, D.C., but as it really relates to what it's about, I've got to give you a bit of a disclaimer in that I've been involved in technology and code development and in IT for many decades now, and it was in the early to mid 90s that I was involved in a project that really was one of the first that I had recognized was involved with some form of artificial intelligence or neural networks that were set up in order to build knowledge. As things were executed in manufacturing decision making, those things went into a database and grew the knowledge as it went through the logic every time. It then made more intelligent decisions as it kept going. So to me, although I know the advancements are quite great these days, both in processing power and in the coding that goes behind this, I kind of understand what this is about and where it was headed and what it could be used for. And like anything else, the internet itself, for example, things can be used for the good or for the not so good. So we don't want to paint it with a broad brush and say it's all one thing or another. If properly applied, it can add value. But let's get into talking about it as it relates to music. So what about creation? Well, in the digital world that started in the early 80s, there were a lot of things that were able to be added in that weren't natural in the sense of an actual instrument, and things were mixed in certain ways, and there were other algorithms that created more capability, more flexibility into the music as time has gone on. So that in and of itself is not really new. It's kind of an evolution that has happened. But now when we get into areas where we're saying we're going to create voices out of whole cloth, now we're getting into something that's a little more Frankensteinian.
You are not evil. You are good.
And so as we come to these kind of things, we really have to ask ourselves, what do we want to hear? A lot of what we hear today is not, quote, natural in the natural sense. It is, in fact, in some way computer generated. I think the intent of this, of course, is to bring about either better sound or something that wasn't able to be done years ago. But again, do we want songs created from whole cloth that now are, quote, new Elvis Presley songs or new Beatles songs? I don't know. It seems to me that gets to be a bridge too far. I mean, how much of this really just ends up being fake?
Fake.
So the Now and Then demo was now put into some changes that was done with Paul and Ringo providing vocal backup and instrumentation along with the original demo. The demo itself, of course, it was sped up, which of course creates its own difference in John's voice, the tonality, and even the way the song feels from the more melancholy way that it felt in the demo. But that being said, not a high degree of, quote, high-end technology, I don't feel, was used in that. The problem to me, at least, is that I think in some of the harmonies that they do together, they really just don't seem well put together. They just don't really have that really kind of sweet blend that they had when they were naturally together. And this creates a bit of a feeling in my mind when I listen to it, because it really is distracting, because I'm trying to figure out why that is. Is it because John's voice was sped up and they're trying to keep pace with it? Are they trying to send a different message or evoke something different in what they're singing and the way they're singing it compared to what John intended? For me, it just doesn't quite gel. I would say that's really, for me, where I stand on it. The song, in terms of its structure and in terms of the words, it's fine, but there's just something about it that just doesn't quite go together. It just seems kind of glued together a bit, and it doesn't quite seem to have the meaning or message, and it's almost, I want to say, forced. Putting out the song seems almost forced from a marketing standpoint. I mean, all of this, when you look at it, we have the red and the blue. These are originals from the 70s when they came out in colored vinyl back in the day when these were $7.99, and then the white album came out in white vinyl for $8.99, and those are sealed, by the way. So, I've been down the road with that before. I've ordered the new 3LP blue and 3LP red set that comes together in the colored vinyl, just to have them, and also, of course, to hear what they've done with the remixes. But as it relates to this single, I was never really sold on it per se in the beginning, didn't order one. And in my mind, at least, now that I've heard it, it's not a big whoop to me. It's a bit of a letdown. And really, as I say, when I started hearing some of the voice blends, it just didn't quite work for me for some reason. And I started to think about, how much technology might end up getting layered in some of these things above and beyond what adds value. And you'll never really know, I guess, at the end of the day, what really had the net effect. But again, for me, although I love the Beatles and I really, really liked Free as a Bird and Real Love, this one just seems a little bit out of skew. And that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. And I think that the Beatles, of course, will always be who they have been in terms of what they've done holistically in their catalog and in their impact to us that grew up with them. Obviously, it was a big emotional thing, and that's never going to change or go away. But I hope the legacy of the Beatles doesn't become some of these situations where they're trying to fit a square peg into a round hole with technology. Those are my thoughts, so thanks for joining as always. If you're not a subscriber, please consider ringing the bell below and picking all to get notifications, and a thumbs up or like is appreciated, as are your comments. So thanks for watching today, and we'll catch you next time on our next Safe and Sound Texas audio excursion. Take care, everybody.